You told everybody to follow you from college to the theater.
Well, what happened was that like as soon as I jumped off stage, I didn't really. One thing I didn't. That I think if I had done it again, I was thinking maybe we shouldn't have shown that clip as I walked off because it suddenly went black in Hall H and nobody could see me. And also I'm pretty short as well, so nobody could see me at all. And I was surrounded by all like the security, and I was going, no, they're supposed to follow me. So I was trying to get the security guys to go away. But then like people kind of came behind, and I don't know how many people I had directly behind me. But as we were walking, like it was only a 6-block walk, but it took half an hour to get up there.
I actually got there around the same time you did, and I went off with a whole other group that went over to the other. Yes, they all went over there. It was hysterical.
But then, like
it was like a mob thing.
On the way up to the theater with the people who were directly behind me, I basically continued the Q&A because we were at stoplights, and at the stoplights there was nothing really. I was just standing there, like so. I said, "So, anybody else got any more questions?" So I conducted this mini Q&A with the people right behind me. And then we even started doing a sing-along of singing Hi-Ho and trying to do a Mexican wave. But then when I got to the theatre, I was kind of aware that like sort of that there was a bunch of people who had the pins but had got lost. And so I stood outside the theatre for at least 45 minutes, maybe more, just ushering people in.
No, nobody knew where it was. And they were all saying, where is it? So some of us would say, it's on, it's on 6th Street, whatever.
But what was kind of cool was then I stood outside and was basically being my own usher, just getting everybody in. And some people like kind of running up, sort of, anxious and freaking out that they had missed it. And then they saw me standing outside and thinking, oh, I guess it hasn't started yet.
So you had like 13 people up there, and it's a very young cast. Talk a little bit about how you picked them and why you picked them and what you were, really trying to achieve there.
Well, what's really, obviously the gift is in the source material with that, but it was really great to do a film with such a young cast where like the entire ensemble is between like 19 and 29. And it almost felt like Lord of the Flies a little bit because there's no like grown-ups in the film at all. And it was kind of great for me having done Hot Fuzz last, where some of the cast members were in their 70s, and so with Billy Whitelaw and Edward Woodward, who were both like 75 or 75 at the time rather than Edward Woodward. That it was really amazing doing a film with people this young. But also they're all like so, I couldn't say enough nice things about the cast just in terms of not only how funny and just amazing they were to work with, but also they're just so professional, all of them, and just had such a great kind of work ethic. And it was a really like intense film to make because, the set pieces are incredibly painstaking to do. And you've got to try and
It's an action film. Let's not put too fine a point on it.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit of what you said at the panel about how you used the set pieces. There's 7, is that right? Big fights, where Michael Cera has to fend off the X's. But there's a lot of action that had to be very carefully choreographed. And it was almost like musical numbers?
Yeah, well that was the approach, was that, and it's kind of, it's a level of reality in the film whereby people have these like fantastical fights, but the world never goes back to normal. And it was something that's easy to do in comics, and I was trying to figure out on screen how to maintain that level of reality.
Well, you play around with a bit of slow motion, and right? You kind of dazzle up the screen with graphics.
What I mean more is that. Is in a way is that sort of how does the rest of the world react to what just happened in that club? And my thought really was like to play it like a musical, that in like Singing in the Rain, Gene Kelly will be talking, burst into a song, do a dance routine, and then go back to dialogue at the end. And nobody ever says, how did you do that? That was amazing. How did you work out that routine? And it's just so the musical reference was just a way of like having that level of reality of like, and now a big fight is breaking out, and that's a production number, and
but it's John Woo and Jackie Chan too. It's the same principle.
Well, also the interesting thing, and like
and in Chinese, wire work and all that kind of thing, right?
And the interesting thing with that is that like, Jackie Chan is basically Hong Kong's Gene Kelly. John Woo's favorite film is West Side Story. And like all of those guys came out of the Peking opera, so they all came from a musical background, you know.
And it's Bollywood.
Absolutely. Well, there's one. Yeah, there is one Bollywood, and actually, the Bollywood films is another. They have definitely a level of reality where anything can happen, and comedies will break into a musical number and go back again.
But what all these other genres have that you do not is rules that everybody and conventions that everybody knows what they are, and that was trickier for you.
Well, I think the thing with it is it's almost like the whole film is like there's an element of wish fulfillment with the film in terms of that you're basically seeing the movie that's in Scott Pilgrim's head. I mean, I kind of almost see the entire film as like the Scott Pilgrim as a character is like a big daydreamer and has kind of an inflated opinion of himself at the start of the film. And like Brian Lee O'Malley once kind of said about the character, said Scott Pilgrim is the star of the movie in his own head, and I feel like this is the movie. And there's kind of like a level of reality in the film where like the whole thing is like a big kind of daydream of, I feel in a way that that's what the film is that this is like Scott Pilgrim's unreliable version of events. Is that this is how he is, that's something that has happened to him, but he's chosen to kind of describe it in a manner that like feeds back into his misspent adolescence of gaming and watching too many cartoons and